everybody is predicting a crash. Well, there's a little gnat flying around here in the studio. Sorry about that. Not everyone is predicting a crash. Some of the most knowledgeable people who actually track what's going on and compare that to the basic laws of supply and demand do not believe there is going to be a crash. That would be people like Logan Mohtashami, Bill Gross, your humble host, our good friends over at the Motley Fool. I'm going to get that bug in a minute. Might be a mess, but anyway, the people who are saying there's going to be a crash, and I could name some names of some of the YouTube clickbait wannabe boys, but I'm not going to name their names. First of all, I don't call people out that way. And secondly, I don't want to bring them any more attention because they're doing it just to get attention. They're doing it just to get clicks. There is no crash happening in real estate anytime in the next 12 months. You hear me? I'm looking right at you, America. And I'm confidently telling you, because I know that real estate moves slowly, I also know what the market indicators are. And we've been tracking the market indicators since the inception of the Flipping America show in 2017. We are watching rates of foreclosure. We are watching interest rates. We are watching days on market. We are watching new construction. We are watching the cost of construction. We're watching at least 8 major factors, and none of them, not even one of them, are pointing to a crash. The one item that might give you some concern is the recent increase in interest rates. And by the way, I don't know if y'all know this, but I think that we're going to see another 75 basis point increase next time the Feds meet. It'll be just in a few days. So they're going to go up again. And mortgage rates will eventually follow. But guess what? When I checked yesterday, the mortgage rates nationally averaged 6.8%. And I got to thinking about the first house I bought. The first house I bought was in 1981. I know, I'm old. And I had good credit, no problems, not a single late payment everywhere, anywhere. And so I got the best interest rate you could get in 1981. Anybody want to care to venture a guess what that interest rate was I paid on my first house? Because I looked this up yesterday. Wilson, you're not as old as me, brother, but you may remember what the interest rates were. Good guess, but half right. I paid 18% on a home mortgage in 1981. 18%. And, you know, people think the world is falling apart because interest rates on home mortgages are now up almost to 7. Actually, the historic average for interest rates on home mortgage is 8%. And there are a lot of things that don't really work very well when it's less than 8%. You know what doesn't work very well? What doesn't work very well is the moderation of supply and demand. With interest rates the way they've been for the last 6 years, the prime borrowing rate near zero and interest rates got down as low as 2.8 and then 3.4 for a good part of last year. When interest rates get that low, people can suddenly afford a lot more house than they used to be able to afford. And so they want to go out and buy that house. And so there's a lot of buyers that are injected into the market. And if you have a lot of buyers and not enough inventory, this is the law of supply and demand in action. Those buyers are going to clamor for that inventory. And since the prices of real estate and the houses are not necessarily fixed, they're not anchored by the cost of the underlying dirt or the cost of the materials used to build the house. The cost is created by demand. That's why location is such an important issue in real estate, okay? But when there is increased demand and people are bidding each other up, prices can steadily, although incrementally because it still has to appraise, they can steadily grow and grow and grow to one of the houses I looked at in preparation for today's show is a little 800 square foot house in Savannah that has an ARV of over $300,000. I can't imagine paying $300,000. But this is supply and demand at work. Now, what's happening as interest rates go up? What it's doing is it's decreasing the pressure on the higher level, what I call this second home purchase. It's not like a vacation home, second home. It's when you're moving up from your first purchase, your starter home, you move up to that second home and you go into a higher price, because you're a little older, you've got a raise in pay, you're doing well now, and you've got disposable income and your investments are starting to pay off, or whatever it is, you're at that next tier in life. And that second level of home and luxury homes, demand is already tapering off. Why? Because interest rates have made some of those things that were previously affordable for regular people, they're not so affordable anymore. It just so happens that I researched all this for the show that I did yesterday, but the median home price in America as of today is $428,700. The median income in America is $79,000. Last year at this time, mortgage rates were 3.4% national average. Today they're double that, they're 6.8%. At 3.4%, a person making $79,000 can qualify and afford to buy that $428,000 house. And they will end up with a principal and interest payment of just a little bit over $2,000. I don't remember the exact number. But when the interest rates are at, oh no, it's $2,300. But when the interest rates are at 6.8%, that payment goes up to $3,000. And now you have to have $115,000 in household income to qualify. And so the average person can no longer afford to buy the average house in this country. That's not a disaster in the making. That's really the way it's been for a while. But none of that matters. People can find a house that they can afford. It just won't be the luxury homes and those middle homes. So what is that going to do? That's increasing the demand on starter homes. And you know what is not being built in this country for the last 5 years? And for at least 4 years, I've been saying on my radio show, if anyone can figure out how to make money building starter homes, there is a fortune awaiting you. The demand has been there and hot and pent up for the last 6 or 7 years. But the reason starter homes are not being built is because of the economics for the builder. And I know this is way beyond the scope of your question, but you have to give builders a reason to build a starter home. And if the development of a lot just for bureaucratic compliance with all the red tape and the things that you have to go through, if you have to pay $45,000 per lot, why would you build a $100,000 product on it when you can also build a $250,000 product? Just throwing out some numbers. In other words, the builders are going to build those second tier homes since the demand was just as high, and not build the starter starter homes. So there are no first-time homes. There are no starter homes. I mean, there are few, but even real estate is not going to respond to the volatility of the market. If we enter into a stock market decline, real estate's still going to be there. All the other indicators are there. Foreclosures are starting to pick back up. Yes, that's true, because the deferrals that people achieved during COVID are gone. And so I know that notice of default and the rates of foreclosures are on the rise. However, they're going to be at elevated levels for a few months, and then they're going to be back to the levels they were right before COVID hit, which was, and I distinctly remember reporting on this in February of 2020, historic lows, the lowest rate of foreclosure in history. And a lot of this has to do with provisions that were built into the Consumer Safety Finance Protection. Anyway, a lot of history there. The point is, we're not going to see a big rash of foreclosures. We're not going to see a glut of houses coming on the market. And those are the things that would indicate that we've got some, we may see some lowering of prices. We are going to see some correction in the sense that the rate of increase of homes is going to slow down. All right, I promise I will not make all of my answers to questions that long, but you kind of picked one of my pet topics there. Because it bugs the fool out of me to see these guys getting 300,000 views on a video just by saying the sky is falling. Yeah, Chicken Little got some attention too. But I will say these are the same people who said it in 2019 and again in 2020, and then after COVID hit the world, a lot of them came on and said, "See, I told you so. The real estate market's going to crash." These are the same people, and now they're saying it again. And guess what? The market fundamentals don't say it. I'm sticking with the market fundamentals because that way you will always know that you can trust that I'm telling you the way it is.